I'm gonna say something. I am gonna touch on something that Civ Alpha has actually touched on, and everything else. The game in question is Hell of Men, Blood Brothers, by Wacky Squad Studios. Yeah, part of something that's on Steam, games in early development and such. I'm not critiquing the game or anything. I'm actually going to give a rundown of what they've actually done wrong, even though Civ Alpha has actually touched on it, considering that with Steam, you're not allowed to block critique of a game that is still in development, because if the developer has done that, it means they can't actually get feedback on what needs to be improved, what needs to be fixed, before it becomes a viable, real game. The menu itself, I'm not critiquing or anything. They said that you can change the graphics from the main menu. I've not seen that, and I've been looking at another video, and virtually you can't. According to them, you can, but in the video I've seen and such, and I have seen these videos, some people have been trying to, but it seems like it's locked or something. I am not entirely sure, but that's a mistake on the developer themselves for that. Even though the game itself is actually in early access with a $12 something price tag that's US, which works out to be nearly just about nearly $25 Australian. Now that to me is actually a Xbox Live Arcade game back when the Xbox 360 was around. Yeah, funny thing about that, considering that I can compare that to Torchlight's price, which is about $30 Australian. And I mean, I'd rather play Torchlight than a game in test development which shouldn't have been posted up with the price tag, which is pretty much idiotic, but what can you do about it? Some game developers or people like, I'll just download a bunch of assets and such from here and here and here, and then start building, and then slap it up, and then they have no idea how to fix what's being broken. Sometimes we can compare games to other games. And I do mean we can compare this game to... I'm just fixing the cord. So what can we compare Hell of Men Blood Brothers to? Oh yes, one of my favorite console games from the PlayStation era. The original PlayStation era, and yes, I have a cleaning cloth because I am going to be cleaning my iPad soon. I love my iPod screen. You won't believe the finger marks on it. Now we can compare that to... We can actually compare both, considering that EA/Westwood, who actually brought us Command & Conquer, they didn't release it as early access. It was actually 2 full discs. We had GDI and NOD. I went for both, so I got the same. So I got different gameplay, different outcomes, and such on different missions. And then we have Red Alert, Command & Conquer Red Alert, which is, again, love the game. But when I see gameplay of a game in early access that shouldn't be up, and I can actually critique or actually bring up my Diploma of Digital and Interactive Gaming, which I hold half a diploma to, it's not very good. Releasing a game in early access can actually build the game, or it can sink the game. What the dev have done, which is Wacky Squad Studio, have actually censored critique. They've actually, well, let's just say, they could virtually go into developer hell and not recover by blocking critique of their game. Blocking critique of a game, well, have a look at Bungie. If they block critique of Halo when it first came out, and I do mean the original Halo Combat Evolved series, we wouldn't have Halo Combat Evolved series, we wouldn't have no Halo game to actually enjoy, to actually say, yes, this is a LAN party game. This is where I can jump in with 3 other friends, hooked up, playing the same game. We could just jump straight in, LAN it, and be done in, say, 6 hours. 4 hours tops. Excuse me. Another thing that I can actually point out, and I am drawing on my experience here as a Ex-Diploma Digital and Interactive Game student, is that every time I didn't know if it was a 3D model, or it was questions, or it was looking up intellectual property laws, copyright laws, trademark laws, business laws, and whatnot, and yes, I am actually touching my laptop. There's always a nagging thing that comes up, and it will keep nagging you, and nagging you, and nagging you. One question was, one of the questions I've actually encountered was the intellectual property of Rugby Australia. That question actually had your client's son wants to make a rugby game. By actually doing the research, I actually found the contract for the whole rugby, like the whole world rugby and such, which I can't find again because I have no idea where it went, and it was probably about 5 years ago, or just over 5 years, considering that I actually finished that back in 2014 it was? So it was, 2014. And I actually included it in my assessment. Whereas for player contract, see this page. For media contract, see this page. For development of such and such, see this page. By not actually including that contract with that assessment, I would have just been passed. But seeing as I did include that contract with that assessment, I got told that the amount that the research I put in to get that contract and actually go like team logos and such, you virtually had to have every team sign up. You virtually have to have their signature. You virtually have to have every player's signature on the media contract. Then you virtually have to sit down with your client's son, see what game he wants to make, if it's PC, console, or mobile, and tablet friendly game. What this studio has done, which is Wacky Squad Studio, they've virtually not taking in that yes, critique can be positive and negative. Yes, critique can be helpful. Now, going back to my assessment, yes, there was going to be some critique about my assessment and how it was done. I virtually went above and beyond what everyone else did. Because it was like, here's the question, what do I need to, what can I do to actually answer this question? So I broke it down. Rugby World Cup. Or, in other words, the whole rugby section. Whole sport of rugby. I actually went you know what, let's just have a little dig around for a whole day. Come the next day of that assessment, I virtually went from going, right, here's the contract. I've gone, right, we're going to have to talk with the managers of every team, the sponsors of every team, the player association for every team, and that includes the world teams. So you've got the Player Association of Australia, New Zealand, Africa, America, and everywhere else. Though America's actually gridiron, so that's not classified as rugby. To me, that's not even classified as football. Football's either soccer or Australian rules football. Or Australian League Football, which is the AFL, which also comes under the same stance as well. For Wacky Squad Studio to actually deny all critique, even if it's early access, critique, both positive and negative, are still good because it can actually help build more. It can actually go, you can go through the critique and go, okay, what needs to be fixed? What needs to be fixed so that we don't have this problem? What can be improved to actually give it more visual? Well, in early access, let's just say I'm not going to repeat what the HUD layout looks like. And I do mean I'm not going to repeat what the HUD layout looks like because I've seen the HUD layout and the game student in me wants to actually rip that game apart, go through the HUD section and just redesign complete. Just redesign it so it actually fits the type of setting, the type of visual that they want. And that's just the game student. That's just the game student side of me. The other thing that I want to point out about the critique of the game is that on Steam, yes, you have to abide by Steam's laws, but by going after one person who you just gave an early access key to and not expecting positive and negative critique, I think Steam may be brought in for this because every game relies on critique. Every developer relies on critique except for those who actually download a game asset or a full game and then flog it off as their own. And I do mean there are a number of people who actually have done that and they've actually paid the price for it. By being banned from Steam itself, by being banned by every other game company, and now they are having a hard time of actually saying this is my own work, when you can virtually go to the Unity store and buy a whole game for about $10 US, which is roughly about $15 to $20 Australian. I wouldn't do that unless you plan on editing the models and everything else yourself. Not just go, oh, I'll just grab this and plug it as my own game. I'm done. I'm making money. Yeah. And then people start looking around and go, wait, that's the same game as the one on Steam. Message Steam. Tell everyone not to actually get this game because it's actually a game asset. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love RTS. Mainly StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3, and the Frozen Throne expansion, which is getting a remastered. StarCraft 1, not so sure because it's Blizzard, who actually released Diablo IV trailer and gameplay. And I'm gonna save that for another video because, oh boy. All those who actually deleted their Blizzard account and were playing Diablo IV, I think they maybe have changed their view. But enough about that. Like I said, that's for another video. This is just adding on to the information Sid Alpha has put forward, and what another person has put forward. Who is Dad's Gaming Addiction. Their video is still up on YouTube. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to critique this game. Hell of Men, Blood Brothers. Yeah. I'm gonna say this: if you're releasing a game early access, please don't release it with a tech demo or something. If you want the game to be up on early access, put a bit more how can I say, put a bit more work into it, please. You know, don't try and say, oh, this is new, this is going to beat Command & Conquer, or StarCraft, or StarCraft 2, or Warcraft RTS. There's no way you'd be able to beat those at all. And judging from what I've seen, most of the assets seem to come from Unity, but have been dulled down. Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. Because I spent a number of hours working on a katana as an assessment. This is going back to my Diploma of Digital and Interactive Gaming studies. I spent hours on a wooden box or a crate. I virtually had to do a wood burn. I spent a number of hours trialing, erroring the wood burn until I actually got it correct. And that's going through Photoshop and everything else, just so that it would actually be on the asset, or the model I was making. The katana, that I did in 3D, I made that to a high quality scale I wasn't even aiming for. I was aiming for low to medium scale. Yes, I can go back into it, redo the blade, so it's actually a bit slimmer, the way it's meant to be. Then redo and just get everything slimmed down so it actually feels more like a katana. And then try and raise the inlaid stuff to actually match the image that's on it. But that's just me. And like I said, I was actually doing a number of assessments at once, just to crunch a few of them out of the way, while still trying to do a 3D model of a character. Well, a bit hard to actually sit down with the tutor if they're up north. And by up north, I mean, like, in Australia, that would be Queensland. That's north enough for you, for anyone who actually wants to go there. And they actually kept the tutor on, who was not very helpful, to say the least. I was getting help from another tutor that was actually helping, until he actually said enough is enough and just packed it all in. The other option for this studio would be to unban the video upload, to actually rescind their report to Steam, so that the person who actually did that they gave the early access key to can actually upload videos again without waiting 2 to 3 freaking days. Because if I got banned from uploading videos for 2 to 3 days, I would be pissed. If it's to Steam, and if it's say you actually have a contract with Steam to actually upload videos to. Now most people do actually live stream the video or the gameplay to Twitch or Mixer, though Mixer's actually winning out because Twitch actually allowed porn up on Ninja's old Twitch channel. Whoopsie! Yep, that's a big whoopsie by Twitch. That was months ago. Ninja's actually enjoying Mixer a lot more because a little thing Twitch was doing, which I will not get into. I'm thinking of actually switching over to Mixer myself at one point. But yeah, let's be clear on everything. Critique is useful, both positive and negative. My tutors actually reiterate that because critique is what helps your company grow to actually fix the game. Unlike EA, who's actually just about nearly ready to close Bioware because of Anthem. But that's actually mainly on EA itself. They pushed for Anthem. They wanted it out when it wasn't even fully polished, where bugs were still in the game. The beta, which I've actually played, was atrocious in itself. Yes, you could get in, but then you get kicked out straight away. A number of other things that the studio could actually handle better was their PR movement. If you're a game dev, you have to have a good PR. You don't have a good PR, well, virtually you just sunk your own studio. And again, I am gonna relate this back to my diploma of digital and interactive gaming study. PR, which is the personal relations, is someone who actually helps out to enforce, grow the community for the game and such. What Wacky... I've got their name. What Wacky Squad Studio did was a bad PR move. And yes, I am going to say bad PR move because that's what they did. By blocking someone from uploading videos to Steam for 2 to 3 days, that's virtually telling someone, oh, we're gonna wait for a better critique. Now I'm agreeing with Sid Alpha that Wacky Squad Studio actually deserves to be on the Dirty Devs list, and they actually do. Excuse me. Thank you. Now, Blizzard actually is on the Dirty Devs list, but that's only because of their handling of BlizzCon, who actually used Blizzard's platform to promote something that has no business being on Heavestone, has no business being in the post-match section, And if he actually read his contract, and I am going to express the contract here, because the contract is something that you actually agree to. Then you're going to say, oh, but you signed a digital contract. That contract is still legal binding. It's the same with terms and conditions for YouTube. Same with your iPad, your membership to Nintendo, mainly the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo 3DS. You're agreeing to the terms and conditions of the Nintendo Store along with what's in your account that you created. It's the same with PlayStation, Microsoft, and everywhere else, actually, including Disney, Universal Studios, Warner Brothers, SeaWorld, and everywhere else. Even hotels. Yes, even hotels. Because as soon as you sign in, you're virtually agreeing to their terms and conditions, along with agreeing to take up any damage that you have done to that room that you are actually staying in, that you've made, that you have paid for, but it's on the hotel's property. It's the same with media event contracts. You are virtually agreeing to that contract, but the video has to go live after 2 days or so. Because yes, you will be editing, yes, you will have to go through, take out things, put things in, and everything else. And I'm not just saying that because I studied it. It's virtually, you are agreeing to the terms and conditions, the contract, and everything else. Now, I'm gonna end here. And if you actually do have a problem with me stating that I am an X-Game student, a X-Game Diploma of Digital Interactive Gaming student, then that is your problem, not mine. I actually have the certificate of attainment for a number of the assessments that I've actually completed. And I can virtually go through what I need to complete them, and just go, well, I'm ready to upload all this. Am I able to upload it? And if they say no, I'll say, well, fine. I'll just go elsewhere with everything else, and I'll just get the diploma from someone else. And of course, I can easily finish everything because, well, it's only written essays and such, but I agree to the contract. I have a laptop that is now 5 years old. And I do mean 5 years old. And it's needing to be replaced at some point. It has seen me through my course. It has seen me through a few games, like World of Warcraft. Though the power supply actually loves to burst the capacitor when it overheats. That's the one thing about gaming laptops, is the power supply. Now, there's one thing else before I go. Do remember to be safe and such. If you are actually tuning into the news in the US, there was a forest fire. Donald Trump is blatantly lying about the forest management by the California government, the mayor or whatever. That is a blatant lie. Do not give in to those lies. There was a track accident this morning at 3 a.m. in Australia, in the state I live in. Condolences to the family, because the loss of life and husband, friend, family member, brother, son, daughter, sister is actually hard. I've virtually lost 3 people. 2 of them were grandparents on my mum and dad's side. The other one was a great-grandfather, who I miss completely, who I miss dearly. I miss all 3 dearly because, the granddad on my dad's side taught me how to play billiards, golf, and darts, I think. No, just billiards and golf, which I enjoyed immensely until I had to give up golf because it was getting too expensive and couldn't go every second week. Billiards, well, I virtually don't have the room for a billiard table. I would love to take it back up again, but I have no room for it. Darts are a different matter. I virtually got taught how to play darts by my cousins. My 2 male cousins, who are, shall we say, 6 months and a year. Well, 6 months older than what I am, and a year younger than what I am. And I talked to both, but nearly had to bury my 6-month, my cousin who's older than me, but who's older than me by 6 months, because of an accident by a driver who was distracted or intoxicated or on drugs. I would have been devastated because he was the only one who would actually, could enjoy a good laugh, go out, we could go and have a few drinks and go see movies or go to the club. But please, do think of your loved ones and everything else, and please do donate to the relief system for California, because Donald Trump is actually cutting the aid to the affected area by half, and to me that is actually not right at all, nor is it acceptable, nor is what Wacky Squad Studio has done is acceptable either. There are a number of ways to actually go around doing things like Wacky Squad Studio has done. You can actually look up and such. Though, if you are wondering what intellectual property laws are, I advise you to actually look those up yourself. I'm not linking those down below, but I will link Sid Alpha's video below so that you can actually have a look. And yes, I know I should have said that at the beginning, but I am actually giving a shout out to Sid Alpha. And I don't care if this video does get demonetized, because I'm not earning a single cent by YouTube. Because of a small kid, who I'm not naming, because if I do name, I would have a strike against this video, but I'm not naming them. They know who they are. But here's the thing. Being a reviewer of, say, different things, and giving an opinion, is actually different. You would notice by how much detail I go into on the game statues and everything else, but I'm going to end here. Because I'm going to do another video on Diablo 4. and I will be linking the trailer and such into it, that video. So, until that video is up, I shall see you next time. And enjoy your day. Evening, morning, mid-morning, afternoon, mid-afternoon, or late afternoon, late evening, or whatever it is you do. And remember, take care of your loved ones. Because we don't know when they'll be taken away from us, or if we are taken away from them. So please, take care of yourselves and your family. And family violence as well. Because family violence is one killer or kids. Virtually. And I'm talking mentally, about mental health and such, for the kids. Do it for the kids. And family violence. Remember why you married that person in the first place. Don't make it about them or you or the kid. Make it about the family. Make it about what you have. Because they're all you have. Including your friends. As well. They can be all you have. Yes, you could divorce and find love again, but would that really be good? Would that really be a mental state, mentally fit for the child, I should say? Do it for them. Do it for the boy or the girl in your life that you've actually brought into this world. And family violence. Do it for them. And do it for their safety. Also, to those in... Yeah, that's going to be another video, but please donate to the California Forest Fire Relief, if you can, and to family violence. Because nothing's more precious than your family and friends.